For a co-main event, man, this was super randomly the co-main event, right? This was not the most exciting fight in the world, personally, in terms of the matchup, and I'm surprised to see it on the co-main event. It's a lot, but nonetheless, it is a really, really good matchup, and this is someone who has one of the best nicknames in the game. Kyung Kang, aka Mr. Perfect, opens up as a -145 favorite in this bantamweight matchup against Rani Yahya, who is a +120 underdog, which is very surprising because if you look at his last fight against Ray Rodriguez, he did what he does best and he submitted him. He got the job done. Ray Rodriguez is a real puncher, a real deal puncher. And let's talk about Kang, man. Kang isn't the biggest puncher in the world, right? He's looking to wrestle you, take you down, control you for an entire round. Now, let me just ask you, because I think that this segment can be a little bit on the shorter side. Both of these dudes are very experienced. Kang did have to do something that the Korean Zombie did as well because he's South Korean. He had to do his mandatory 2-year service. So this is his 6th bout since coming back from the 2-year, military service that he did. I want to ask you this, man. This dude is very experienced. 5 rear naked chokes out of his 11 submission victories, which we talked about Mickey Gall. It's just so impressive to be able to do that type of stuff, right? But you're fighting arguably one of the greatest MMA BJJ practitioners of all time in Rani Yahya, man. Like this dude, you know what he's going to do. It's basically like Damian Maia. You know he's going to try to submit you. Are you going to be able to stop it? The answer is most likely no, but it can happen, right? I mean, Yahya does have 10 losses on his record. So when we're talking, but we're in the UFC, he only has 4. So let that, take that for what it's worth. Let me just ask you, man. Kang, he wants to wrestle. Yahya, he wants to grapple. Who do you think has the advantage going into that? This is an interesting matchup.
This is a very interesting matchup, Derek, and we're going to see a very high-level jiu-jitsu wrestling match. We're going to see a lot of rolls, a lot of up and down, a lot of going back and forth. The advantage, though, I don't really know, man. This one, if I had to give the advantage to anybody, to be honest, I'm going to give it to Rani Yahya, just because he is so experienced in the game, and he's seen it all, done it all, tapped almost everybody and been, lost the big hard decisions like he did against Ricky Simone. He's had really good fights going forward. So advantage overall, like if I had to take every aspect of the fight into this one, I'm giving it to Rani Yahya specifically off of experience and knowing what's coming forward. Whereas Kang, he's still young in the game, man. He's only 33 years old, 17-8. Like you said, he's the 6'5" back. So he does throw these really nice straight punches, but I don't think this is going to be a striking match, man. I think this is going to be a lot of grappling, very heavily wrestling jiu-jitsu match, and in a tiny cage like we're going to see in Vegas. I think this one's going to be an interesting one for the fans out there who like to see those kind of matches going forward. Who do you give the advantage to, Derek, and why?
Well, I got a wrench coming out of left field on this one, man, and I give it to Rani Yahya as well, but not for the same reasons that you give him the advantage, man. You mentioned Rani Yahya versus Ricky Simone, who's one of the highest level wrestlers in the game right now, right? But what did you notice in that fight? Did Ricky Simone rely on his wrestling in that fight? Absolutely not. It was all about the hands, right? He would literally, Yahya does what Ryan Hall does, where if he gets hit, he just drops to his back. Similar to Nick Diaz and Nate Diaz, right? You just drop to your back, open your guard, and say, come on in. I'll try to pull you into my guard. And Ricky Simone would be like, nope, get up. We're gonna really bang it out, right? But the thing that a lot of people forget about Rani Yahya is that he's not just a BJJ guy. This dude's a black belt in Muay Thai. Like, he has legit striking. Now, let me preface that, actually. He has solid striking for somebody who's looking to just brawl and get as close as possible to you to grab you and then take the fight to the ground, right? It's not super technical, crisp, all that, right? It's big brawling style type, fighting, right? Now, let me ask you this, AJ. What do we say about all these Brazilians, all these grapplers that I love so much? I say, listen, you can strike with reckless abandon. You don't care what you throw, because guess what? I don't care if you take me down. Put me on my back. That's fine. That's where I want you. I'm going to heel hook you. I'm going to rear naked choke you. I'm going to grab whatever I need to grab, but I'm going to grab something. And if Kyung Kang decides he wants to wrestle, and that's really the approach that he wants to take, I'm interested to see if he can nullify any of the grappling, because one of the things about grapplers, right? This is not a jiu-jitsu matchup. If you're a wrestler, you get into the half guard and you start doing the ground and pound, there's nothing you can do. If you're one of those grapplers, man, nobody can save you. So with that caveat kind of thrown in there, what are the odds, though, that this is actually a striking matchup? It seems like you think it's going to be heavy grappling, but I think there could be a high likelihood that this is just a striking matchup. This is like a kickboxing match or something.
There is a very high likelihood that this could be a kickboxing match because of what you said with the Ricky Simone fight. If you want to go in and test your skills against a dude who's high level at wrestling or at jiu-jitsu, that's a risky move. That's a really risky move, especially knowing he's that good. And don't get me wrong, Kang is really good at the ground game, but not as good as Rani Yahya. Whereas like we saw in last week's fight, I don't have the notes up on this one, but where we had two really good wrestlers go at it and they were just banging it out. Maybe you might be able to recall the name of the fighters. It's yeah, I can. It's all good. But when we see fire versus fire, sometimes that other aspect comes out where they need to pull something out of the tool belt. And with Khan having the height and the reach advantage, I definitely see him trying to fall back a little bit more on that. Because, man, if you're trying to go in and test Rani Yahya on the ground, man, it's a ballsy move going forward, man. What do you think? You really see this one going forward as a kickboxing match? And at that aspect, will Kang have the striking advantage, even though Rani Yahya is very experienced on the feet?
Well, I do think that this has a much more of a likelihood to just swang and bang type fight, with Rani Yahya trying to get takedowns and maybe not really working, being reckless, all that stuff. And I'm glad you mentioned the reach advantage of Kang, because Kang has let's look at it. It's 73 to 67. That's a 6-inch reach advantage. He has a crispy jab and a sharp check left hook. So I think if he relies on those things, man, and he keeps Yahya at distance, it's going to be a really long night. And the other thing I really like about Kang is he has, similarly to Islam Makhachev, right? He has these like no feint, no tell, immediate for the takedown, right? Like it's just chilling, pow, you just shoot immediate, right? And the other thing he has is very little feint on his head kicks, man. So you never know. Yahya got to be careful coming in recklessly, because Kang has those quick snapping, roundhouses that could put his lights out. I will say Yahya, he's only been knocked out twice in his career. This is what was interesting. I think I wrote it down. So Yahya is very durable. We know this, right? He knows how to fight through adversity, and he's only been finished 3 times in 38 fights. That is an 8% clip. You've only been finished in 8% of your fights, man. That's super, super impressive. So I think that the durability definitely has to go in favor of Rani Yahya. However, this is going to be just experience, man. Yahya got more experience, and when you're in that Damian Maia style role, man, you can never count this man out. Similar to what we learned about Darren Elkins once again, which we should have already learned our lesson, but once again, here we go, right? So at this point, just give me your pick and why, AJ.
Yeah, man, this is a close fight to me, especially if they go to where both of their strengths lie on the ground. It's going to be interesting to see. But personally, I got Kang going for decision, man. I definitely think this is one of those ones that's going to prove if Kang is a real deal or a middle of the pack fighter. And if he's able to get through Yahya, he's going to be able to start fighting some real deal killers in the division. But that being said, if this goes to the judges, it's Vegas. So we've seen what happened last week. We don't know what's going to happen. And Rani Yahya is very hard to put away. But personally, I got Kyung Khan, however you say his last name. I'm sorry for messing it up, but I got him by decision. Who you got, Derek, and why?
Okay, man. So I will say, we talk about Kang as just being this wrestler. He has real jiu-jitsu chops as well, man. The dude has 11 submission victories. I've seen him snatch triangles off of his back like it's nobody's business. But when you're fighting a dude like Rani Yahya, your 11 submission wins are not up to par to Yahya's 21 submission wins, man. It's just a different level of the game. This man is a 3-time world jiu-jitsu champion, a 2007 Abu Dhabi Combat Club champion, man. This dude is legit. We could talk about it as much as we want. We know he's game. I'm interested to see how the hands play out, but I'm going to go Rani Yahya because the man knows how to fight through adversity. And I think this is going to be a decision win, though, man. I don't think that he's going to be able to submit Kang. I think Kang is going to be, hopefully, you know what I'm saying, putting up a good fight, because this could be one of those, what do they call it, washing machine type fights, like the Darren Elkins, Derek Minner, where they were just going back and forth, on top, on bottom, on top, up here, down. So we'll see. Cardio is going to be interesting. Rani Yahya might have a little bit of a cardio, or actually, no, he's not going to have a cardio issue whatsoever. Rani Yahya is game all 3 rounds. And let's see if Kang is too, man. So my pick, Rani Yahya, unanimous decision. That's the co-main event. Now, let me get you back up here, AJ, and let's talk.